Second World War pitched the United States against Japan in some of the bitterest fighting in the history of warfare. On both sides, thousands of lives were being sacrificed. America's answer was to develop a weapon so awesome that it would end the fighting almost at a stroke. Billions of dollars were plowed into ensuring that the USA would be the first nation in the world to have the atomic bomb. What the Americans did not know, and what many are unaware of to this day, was that they were actually engaged in a race. Their enemy, Japan, was also working on a nuclear program. Not one, but two teams of Japan's top scientists were engaged in a desperate bid to develop the bomb. They had completed the first crucial steps and may even have detonated a nuclear explosion. The Western Allies had no inkling that the Japanese program was so advanced. They did not know that with just a little more time, the course of World War II might have taken a very different turn. The Second World War ended when the United States used atomic bombs against the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation was so complete that the Japanese surrendered within days of the second strike. Although Japan was much criticized for its wartime brutality, it won universal sympathy as the victim of this terrifying new weapon. But Japan's scientists, unknown to the world and to America in particular, had set out to harness the same destructive force in a weapon of their own. Once defeat was inevitable, the Japanese set about destroying their military secrets. Orders were given for all evidence of scientific and weapons research to be burned. In those last frantic days before the arrival of the conquering Americans, mountains of papers and files from the bomb project went up in smoke. But one survived. In Tokyo, amid the chaos of surrender, a bomb team member handed the salvaged file to a brilliant young scientist named Kazuo Kuroda, a member of a different team.
We asked him to protect him, and he said, because your name is not on any of the documents, and so you wouldn't be prosecuted as a war criminal. Okay? And so he kept them, and he promised to take care of those documents.
After the war, Professor Kuroda emigrated from Japan to America, to the University of Arkansas.
He had come to the United States in 1949, one of the first group of Japanese scientists to be allowed to come to the United States after the war, and had come on a special visa, same kind of a visa that the German rocket scientists came in under.
These are chopsticks, used like this.
Professor Kuroda often entertained students and colleagues at his home. Here, guests were shown an extraordinary document.
Is this high?
It was on maybe one or two or three of those occasions that I, in fact, saw these secret plans to build the atomic bomb.
About Japanese atomic bomb.
Really?
Our bomb?
He would show them to students. None of them could read Japanese, but he made reference to the fact that had they been successful, it would probably have been used.
Remarkably, this explosive secret didn't escape from the Arkansas campus into the wider world. But after Kuroda's death in 2001, his widow decided to make his papers public. After nearly 50 years, Japan's most sensitive war secret was about to become public knowledge. How would Japanese wartime scientists, silent for so long, react to this new evidence? Yoichiro Nambu is a distinguished Japanese nuclear scientist who emigrated to the USA in 1952. Although not himself a member of the nuclear weapons team in Japan, he was their contemporary. Professor Nambu had not known that Kuroda's document existed.
I didn't know that they had this much information. Yeah.
The seemingly dead document suddenly comes alive when Professor Nambu spots the name of one of his friends.
Mr. Kigoshi, I knew Kigoshi myself. He's my fellow student in Tokyo.
Kuroda's document describes a team developing weapons-grade uranium and names Kunihiko Kigoshi as a member. Today, he's the sole survivor of those named in the papers. This is the first time he has talked of the project on camera, and the first time he has seen Kuroda's evidence.
How
did you get hold of this?
彼がまたこれをどっからか入手したんだ。
Kigoshi's name appears prominently in the document.
その他ならばいいんです。
Other names should be written here as well.
僕一人の名前
Strange that only my name appears here.
ですね。
Cautiously, Professor Kigoshi begins to describe the project he worked on during the war. At first, he denies that weapons were involved.